I got too much Monta.
What's up? Welcome to the third episode of Too Much Monte with my guest again, Max Levy at Max Scouts on Twitter. Should we talk about like the Porzingis interview first? Like he had like his first practice, of course, and there were some interesting things said about him and things he said.
Yeah, I suppose. So I looked at both the pre-interview at the Spurs game and then the after-practice interview yesterday.
Yeah.
So he seemed very upbeat. He was really excited. At this, it almost felt like he was holding back, like how excited he was.
Yeah, I got that feeling as well. Yeah.
And he was like, I feel better now than I did pre-injury. Which that stood out to me, if that's actually like for real. Because, I mean, sometimes players get told to say things. In addition, I think it's worth noting how he was like, in some of the interviews, he was like, I'm ready, I can't wait to get back on the court, as if like he was ready to get back on like the arena court. He obviously didn't mean it necessarily that way, but he might have like subconsciously meant it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of felt like he kind of wants to play like as soon as possible, but he knows that like strength and conditioning is important to like prevent future injuries and stuff.
And body mechanics, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's really like frustrating for him that he can't play. That like he didn't really think about his injury, that he could like play without thinking about it, and that's really positive. Like you rarely hear that from a big injury.
Yeah, it's worth noting he's like completely done with rehab at this point. So It's all about future prevention and all that at this point. So it's a completely different thing going on now.
Yeah. Also, something I'm kind of like conflicted about is like Porzingis could potentially play, and Doncic is kind of injured. So like, why not like shut down Luka as well? Like, if you're not gonna play Porzingis, like I get it. But like it's kind of weird,
Well, I mean, we don't know what's going on with Luka. I wouldn't play him tonight just because of what you saw with like the whole knee popping thing. I mean, they're playing in Denver, for crying out loud.
For sure.
I mean, it's gonna be on national TV too, so that's great. But I mean, I wouldn't play him, or at least I wouldn't play him much.
I kind of don't understand why he kept playing in San Antonio as well, after like the pop.
Because he wanted to.
Yeah, but like that's not his decision, I guess,
To an extent, it kind of is, because Rick was saying how like he wanted to play so bad that I let him.
Yeah, okay. But isn't that the same in Denver then?
Yeah, but I think the front office might have sent him a little message being like, "Yo, don't play because we're kind of tanking anyway."
Yeah,
but,
okay.
Also,
that's also kind of interesting that he like literally mentioned like we're not playing for much, but I still want to play. Like that's the first time I heard like a player like.
Players say it all the time whenever they get eliminated from the playoffs.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, the Mavericks are basically, if not completely, eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, they're as good as, yeah.
Also, it is worth noting, I saw a tweet from a reliable reporter, Dorothy J. Gentry, reporting on the fact that there was a delay in their flight, and so they could not fly out yesterday morning to Denver because the airport was snowed in. And so it is entirely possible they started flying out like last night, or they haven't flown out yet. And in that case, the players might not exactly be in the best condition to perform come against the Nuggets tonight. And you might see a lot of players getting sat out if there really is sick, like if Maxey gets sick again.
Yeah, that could be true. Yeah. I mean, we'll see, I guess. Yeah.
I'd love to see some Kostas time anyway, so even though he hasn't really been that good, but at this point we have nothing to lose. And everything's gained by losing.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that leads off into tanking.
Yeah, that's true. I guess why don't you start?
All right. So I'm going to start off with remaining schedule strength. The Dallas Mavericks have the 15th hardest remaining schedule, which is bang on average. The Atlanta Hawks, the team ahead of them in the tank race, have the second hardest schedule remaining, with playing 2 games against the Bucks, 2 games against the 76ers, once against the Pacers, and once against the Rockets.
Ooh, yeah.
And while the Mavericks play 2 games against the Grizzlies, 1 game against the Cavaliers, 1 game against the Suns, 1 game against the Pelicans, and 1 game against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's kind of safe to say that the Mavs will be 6th in the lottery race at highest, right?
Yeah, it is worth noting how Atlanta did win against their matchup against the Grizzlies, so it is theoretically possible for the Mavs to catch them. But Atlanta would have to win against the Pelicans, the Magic, and the Magic again, and some other relatively below average opponent.
Yeah, I guess it's still possible. But the Hawks have been playing well, and the Grizzlies have been playing well as well, actually. So that they won against them, that was kind of impressive, I guess.
Yeah, the main thing is there's just no way they're beating any of those top 6 teams that they're playing. They're not beating the Bucks, they're not beating the 76ers, they're not beating the Pacers, they're not beating the Rockets. Yeah. They're not doing any of those things. And then, so basically the Mavericks would just have to lose every single game, all 15, which is somewhat possible. Because, they already know how to lose to the Grizzlies, clearly. Losing to the Cavaliers is a tough ask. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
losing to the Suns, the Mavs are very good at losing to the Suns.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
The Pelicans, the Mavs can lose to the Pelicans because Drew Holiday can just go off for 40. Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns can go off for 40, and so yeah.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of tanking, but this is the first season where I'm actually the team is obviously tanking because they traded all their starters. I'm not gonna be ignorant about it anymore because even the team isn't.
Well, they were tanking in 2016-17 at the end.
They were, but that was more they had a team that they were trying to win with, but they were just the least clutch team in the league, And now they're they had a decent team, but they had a bad team, but they still traded all their starters, and they have an injured star. So
the Mavericks were gunning. What happened was they had a terrible start to the season in 2016-17. They went 4 and it was something 3-17.
Yeah.
And then at the end they were really coming on, and then they got eliminated from the playoffs, and then screw this, we're tanking.
Yeah.
For the last, I think it was 12 to 15 games. It was just a masterful tank job because I don't think they won more than 1 game.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess it was kind of obvious. The thing is also that in previous years it was if you weren't really tanking, you'd get the 10th pick, but if you were, you would race up to 4th or something. And now it's either you tank and you keep your pick, or you don't and you lose your pick. And then it's more of an incentive to root for tanking, in my opinion.
Well, the point is at this point is that Luka's already having injury problems. The Mavericks are not in a position to make the playoffs, and there's not much of an incentive to intentionally go after wins the hardest. Now they're gonna play whoever they play and stuff like that, but you're seeing players like Courtney Lee play 10 minutes, even if he's been struggling, but he's only shot 15 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You can't explain that. You can't explain Ryan Brokoff, one of our best shooters, never being on the floor with Luka, whenever Luka desperately needs players that can shoot.
Yeah.
That's unforgivable if you're actually trying to win games.
Wait, so do you think Brokoff will play in the Summer League next year?
I'm not sure, because he's played in the Summer League before, and now he's played a season in the NBA. Perhaps he plays in the Summer League, but he is kind of old for it.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it'd be like if Milos Teodosic played in the summer league.
I mean, he's more proven than Brokoff, though. That's the point.
I know, but he's also when he got signed, he had never been to the NBA or the summer league or anything. He was always in Europe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And also, he didn't shoot 50% from three and have a net rating of 60.
That's true. I mean, Teodosic played at a higher league than Brokoff, though.
I'm not sure about that. Brokov was playing in the Russian league and the Euro Cup. I'm pretty sure Teodosic was playing in a similar level, actually.
Wait, Teodosic? I thought he played in Spain, actually, but
there was a time when he did. I'm not sure if he was playing there recently.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I can check. Previous to the NBA, he was playing at CSKA Moscow.
Okay, yeah, that's the Russian league as well.
Yes, that is the best team in Russia. And especially towards the end of his career, I mean, over there, I'd imagine he kind of got slotted behind MVP Nando De Colo. But yeah, before that, he played in Olympiacos, which is in Greece. Then before then, he played in the Adriatic League. So he never played in Spain.
Okay.
You want to talk more draft real quick?
Yeah. So let's say, well, you know what? Let's do one sim of the lottery, and then I want to ask you who you would pick with that pick if there is a pick.
All right, hold on.
But the probably isn't. But yeah.
Before we sim.
Yeah.
The Mavericks' current odds to keep their pick is 37.2%. If they go into the fifth slot somehow, they would have 42% of getting into 42.1% of getting to the top four, plus another 2.2% to hold at fifth.
All right.
So that would be that'd be 44.3% chances
of keeping the pick. Yeah.
If they somehow moved up to 5. Likely the Mavericks will hold stand pat at 6 though.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do this sim. I'm going to sim the mock draft because I want to see what Tankathon thinks we'll pick.
Sure.
And now it is worth noting, should we sim until the Mavs get a pick, or sim and if the Mavs don't get a pick, they don't, and we just see who Atlanta picks with the Mavs pick?
Yeah, I guess the one sim.
One sim? Okay, one sim. Here we go. The Dallas Mavericks move down a slot, and with the pick, the Atlanta Hawks select Jackson Hayes.
Okay, that's pretty bad, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's likely what happens. You know, the Mavs just stick at like 6 or 7. And then I want to ask you, like, are there advantages for next year? Because next year is supposed to be like a better draft, right?
It's deeper. Yeah. There's not necessarily a premier talent, and there's not a whole lot of better talent, but there's more of it, and they're younger. So let's say like the Mavs would get like the 5th pick this year, or either like the 18th like pick next year, which would be better. Obviously, you take the 5th pick this year.
Obviously. I guess so.
And also remember the strategy whenever you're in this draft: never pick at 5. Trade down unless you can get a trade for Zion, because some team is stupid. Trade down.
Really? Even though
trade out.
Even though the class is not that deep, you should trade down?
Yes. Not far, but a little bit. There are very attractive players in the mid to late lottery.
Okay, that makes sense.
Slot in perfectly with this team. My eyes are centered upon Brandon Clark and Keldon Johnson.
Okay.
I want those players in Mavericks jerseys badly.
That 7th pick from the Hawks, who do you think they pick, and do you think they keep that spot?
Well, I don't know what the Hawks want, but I mean, if I were them, I'd trade down still because the value difference isn't that much.
Okay.
But if they keep their pick, I would imagine they probably do end up picking a player like Jackson Hayes to slot in and play really excellent defense next to John Collins.
Okay. Now,
the only problem with him is he's kind of pretty raw on the offensive end. I'm kind of shocked that Cam Reddish is still top 5 in all these boards. I think with how badly he's been struggling, it's going to be interesting to see if he actually ends up going top 5, and I personally would not do it.
Okay.
I just want to say that because Tankathon has Cam Reddish going to Atlanta with their 4th pick.
So I also wanted to ask you, if the Mavs do get in the top 5, do they keep their pick or do they trade it for like an asset?
Well, according to reports, Drew Holiday is not available.
Okay.
That's going to be something like their number 1 target. I'm trying to think, perhaps they could trade it for a Dragic type character with putting on Courtney Lee's contract.
Oh, that makes sense. So we get like rid of Courtney Lee while at the same time getting
Now,
Dragic.
and I think you might even be able to ask for the Miami pick as well.
Yeah.
Because Dragic is only on a 1-year deal as well, and because you're trading a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So currently Miami is 15th,
Okay.
but Orlando's only a game back of them in the playoffs.
Right.
So who knows, if Miami makes a lottery, I think it's very attractive because they'll be like 11th instead of 15th.
Right.
And that would put you in pretty solid position if you ask me to pick at least one of Brandon Clark or Keldon Johnson, who I just think would be ideal fits for this squad.
They're both bigs, right?
No. Keldon Johnson's Brandon Clark is a wing, is a forward big.
Forward big, okay.
Keldon Johnson is a wing.
Right.
Very attractive.
Yeah.
Excellent shooter. Pretty capable off the ball scorer. Isn't a demanding player and you're not gonna need to give him the ball in order to be effective. Plays hard-nosed defense. Not the greatest defender or anything, but he's gonna try his hardest. He's relatively long, positional size, all that. Just seems like the perfect fit. He doesn't have character issues or anything like that. He has a good frame to him. He's not like slender.
Right.
He just seems like an ideal player to put next to Luka, if you're asking me.
Right.
Also, I'd be very intrigued to see if somehow the Mavericks could land Grant Williams as well. The problem with him is he's a much later pick because he has a lot of limitations, but his IQ is off the charts. And I think Rick Carlisle would really appreciate landing a smart basketball player like him. Like he's on like the Draymond meter type of player.
Oh, that's actually pretty fitting. Yeah.
He doesn't play quite the same. He's much more stand still and in the post, whereas Draymond's an on the move kind of guy.
I mean, that's based off college, right? And there's a lot of post-ups in college.
Well, I mean, just generally, even in college, Draymond played a lot more off the dribble.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But it is worth noting Grant Williams was the SEC Player of the Year last year, and now he averages close to 20 points per game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the lottery, and I think as soon as we know like the position the Mavs are in, we're going to be talking more like draft stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth noting there are very attractive players in the second round the Mavericks could land. I would focus on, among other players, Cameron Johnson would be interesting because he's a 6'8" sharpshooter. You're never going to think he's going to miss. He's going to make so many shots.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, we need defense, like wing shooters. Yeah.
His defense and his playmaking and like basically everything else is kind of lacking. He's just so good at shooting.
I mean, that's something you can develop, right?
He is very old. He's 23.
Yeah, but he still hasn't had like NBA training, That helps a lot.
Yes, but at a certain point, how much time do you have left is always a question you have to ask.
For sure. Yeah.
Ty Jerome would be a very interesting pick. He's like one of these like super efficient playmakers who is able to space the floor and play good defense, especially in a zone. He's not a particularly excellent athlete or anything, but he's just one of those really high IQ kind of guys.
Yeah.
He would ideally, I think Rick Carlisle would love to put on some more zone plays right now because the NBA is actually moving back to zone to an extent.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's hybrid zone and like man schemes where like you have like matchup zone stuff like that. But
yeah,
it's back, baby. And Rick Carlisle brought it first, 2011 NBA Finals.
Yeah, Rick is pretty good at zone defense.
Because, I mean, you look at all these interviews, you see reports of how, like, whenever you throw a zone defense at an NBA team, it can screw with them for, like, a half a quarter.
Right.
Because players just forget how to break down a zone because they haven't done it since, like, high school.
That's true, yeah.
So, that's worth noting. The Mavericks also have a pick in the late 50s due to the Warriors.
Yeah.
So, if there's a player that the Tankathon has the Mavericks picking right now, which is Dylan Windler, and I swear to God, if the Mavericks can get Dylan Windler, you will be happy when he shows up in Summer League.
Really?
Yes, he is one of the best players in the Ohio Valley Conference, second to only Ja Morant.
Wow.
Yes, and he is worthy of, in my opinion, he's worthy of a top 45 selection, or at least close to it.
If he's that good, won't another team like pick him with like the 40th pick or something?
The problem is he plays at Belmont.
Okay.
So I mean, he's played some good teams, but most of the time he's playing in the same conference as Ja, and he's also a senior.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's some pause about him. Just because of that. Some other players I'd be interested in getting. Sagaba Kanate, 6'8" guy with 7-foot wingspan, extremely well built, 250 pounds, like only 7% body fat. And you know what's crazy is that Zion Williamson still is heavier than him.
Wow.
Like Zion is 280 at 6'7", and Sagaba Kanate is 250 at 6'8".
Wow.
Like, it's just insane. But
yeah.
Lagerald Vick would be interesting as a shot maker, but I'm kind of worried he's too much of a shot taker at the same time. He'd be a very interesting proposition to try to fit him onto this team, but he could be a microwave scorer off the bench for us if he turned out well. I'm very interested in Matisse Thybulle. He's one of the leaders, if not the leader, in college steals per game. Hold on, let me move it to per game. But his is very high. He gets 3.5 steals per game.
Okay.
And 2.2 blocks as a 6'5" small forward.
Wow.
But his arms are ridiculous. And he makes so many impact plays with off the ball. It's incredible. And he knows how to play in a zone like nobody else.
Right.
And he's the type of player you slot next to Luka for like 5 or 6 minutes, and he can like mask so many of Luka's issues defensively.
Right. I wanted to ask you if some of these like second round picks work out. Who are the players that the Mavs let go? Like they probably have to like let go of maybe Brokov or Salah.
They have roster space.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, how many players on their team right now then?
Well, I'm just gonna say who they're letting go of. Burke is going.
Yeah.
Or at least they'll just let him go because he's end of contract. Devin Harris is retiring at this point.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, he was on a 1-year deal. He received more offers to coach than to play in last offseason.
Yeah,
and he hasn't exactly shown why he should keep playing, especially without J.J. Barea. It seems I love Devin Harris, but he can't be effective without J.J. Barea. And J.J. Barea, who knows what's going to happen with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired somehow because of just how bad the injury is. We'll have to keep tabs on that situation.
Yeah.
Another thing, they have more free agents.
That's also the
Dirk
thing.
is going to be off the roster, most likely.
You think so? He's retiring?
I think the only way he doesn't retire is if he's really confident in his body. But
I mean, right now
I find that hard to believe. No, I wouldn't say so. It feels like he's still not comfortable out there, and he's still struggling to be any kind of effective. So, I mean, it's a tough decision. But regardless, I think the Mavericks will have the roster space, especially since if I'm the Mavericks, I probably move Kostas Antetokounmpo to just a G League contract because he doesn't really deserve a two-way.
No, I agree with that, but it's also like then some other team might pick him up, and then you lose him.
Who? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like the Nets or something who need
the Nets.
something.
No, the Nets can find better people in undrafted free agency.
I guess
Kostas was not even considered a top 100 prospect by pretty much anybody. Like, there's a reason I'm saying that.
So why is he still then? Why did they not waive him instead of Spalding?
Because of his older brother.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so here's all the free agents the Mavericks have. Dwight Powell on a player option. There's an actual chance now he says no to it. I don't know why Ed Davis is on here. Ed Davis should not be on here, but
no, okay.
Because they don't have Ed Davis, but Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, Salah Mejri, and also Daryl Macon.
That's actually a lot more than I thought. So that means they'll lose a lot of players that I don't want them to lose.
Well, Maxi and Dorian are both restricted.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Salah's gonna go, or at least he should.
Yeah. I mean, especially if they sign a center. If they sign like Vucevic or Randall or something, then there's no.
If they sign Ed Davis.
Yeah, fair.
I would love to have Ed Davis here as their bench rebounder, plug and play.
Yeah, I like him too. Yeah.
But, we'll see. So yeah, they have the roster space to add draft picks for sure, especially since Daryl Macon, they're gonna have to sign to either I think they have to sign him to a guaranteed contract.
Okay.
So it'll be like the minimum deal.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, he deserves it. He's been balling the G League. He's put in the wrong role. He's being asked to score like 20 plus points on a team where he should be like asked to shoot like just 3 or 4 3-pointers and play a bit off the ball and make off closeouts.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not really his fault that his net rating is like -8.
Right.
I mean, Kostas is also really low.
Right. Yeah. Wait. So, who do you think the Mavs sign at like center? I personally, I think there's a good chance they sign Vucevic because I feel like a lot of teams with cap space are probably going after Kawhi or KD, and I think the Mavs aren't interested in those players at all, and they're just going straight to Vucevic, which might be attractive to Vucevic, that he like gets some max straight away.
I think the Mavericks are not that interested in Vucevic.
Really?
Yes. Mark Stein said it himself, and there's no better man.
Yeah, that's actually true. I forgot about that. I do think it's like a perfect match, like there will be like a lot of pick and pops for Luka, and he rebounds very well.
Defensively, there are a lot of questions.
That's true, but if you get like so many pick and pops and so many post plays and
it's only so
rebounds.
Effective whenever you want most of those pick and pops going to Kristaps anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess.
But here's the thing to consider, right, is I think he'll be here, but it's not going to be because the Mavs want Vucevic as much as it is because the Vucevic wants the Mavs. Because he really wants to be here.
You think so?
Yes. You can tell by all the interviews, the way he talks about Dirk. You can tell by, like, I remember he winked at the camera whenever he was hugging Luka.
Right,
like,
okay.
You can tell, like, he wants to be here.
Right.
And also, the Mavs definitely are going to go after Kevin Durant.
They are or they aren't?
They are.
Really?
Yes. You think the Mavericks, you think Donnie Nelson, we like stars, Donnie Nelson is not about to go after Kevin Durant.
Isn't that more Mark Cuban's thing, going after stars?
No, it's both of them.
Okay.
Just Donnie Nelson's not an idiot.
No, Okay. Yeah. I hate the thought of Kevin Durant joining the Mavs though.
I do not, because even if Kevin Durant was somehow a negative influence on Luka, Luka would be a fool to take the qualifying offer, and Kristaps Porzingis is going to sign an extension,
I
so they're
don't
both
think.
going to be here for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah. I don't
and then
think
Luka's going
Durant.
to be here for 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Durant has an influence on Luka. I don't even think they'll be like great friends or anything. But I just think that I don't know. I just don't like the guy, and I don't like. I don't
I
know.
think the problem is that everyone hated him so much for what he did, which to an extent was deserved, but no one has had the ability to move on. Everyone's still obsessive over a decision he made like 3 years ago.
No, that's not really it. It's more like he
Yes, it
just.
is. And yes, he's tired of talking about it.
I mean, yeah. So he shouldn't talk about it. He's always getting so mad at that
He
everything.
talks about it because he gets asked about it.
I
He
guess
has
so.
to answer the question.
I don't know how he like. I don't like how he like gets upset over every little thing.
Well, I would get upset. How would you feel if you constantly got asked about leaving your job,
Yeah. Okay. I guess.
like every day,
But
24/7,
so
multiple
then,
times?
why would he go to the Mavs?
Well, first off, you have guys that are free agent reporters saying, I would tell Kevin Durant to give the Mavericks a long look.
Yeah. Okay.
So, first off, there's that. Number two, he would slot in perfectly as a 4. You would play Kristaps at the 5.
Yeah.
And you would have the most unstoppable 6'8" and taller lineup in history.
Yeah. That's true.
You have a 7'3" unicorn, which Kevin Durant gave Kristaps that nickname.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I have to like think about it. It sounds really
You
weird.
have a 7'3" guy that creates as if he's 6'8",
Yeah.
and you have a 7-footer that plays as if he's a guard.
Yeah.
You have a 6'8" guy that plays like a point guard and Larry Bird at the same time.
I
You
mean, yeah. There
all
are.
these things. And then on top of that, you can still sign Danny Green or something like that, because with Kevin Durant, you can say, "Can you take a pay cut and come to us because we'll be going to the finals?" And I think if you have Kevin Durant, you can say, "We're going to the finals."
Yeah. I guess so.
I mean, it's Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
He is that good. There's
I
no.
I like him on the court, and I there are some things where I'm like he says some spot on things sometimes, but then also he says like really dumb shit sometimes,
Well,
and
I
I'm
mean,
like,
it's. Let me put it this way: the back in the day, every single Dallas Cowboys fan hated Terrell Owens because he was a clown on the field. He would make fun of every single opponent he ever played. And then he got signed to the Cowboys. And then every single Cowboys fan loved him,
it's like with DeAndre Jordan, I guess.
except DeAndre Jordan became an absolute failure.
Yeah, but like his personality kind of fit with the Mavericks, even though from an outsider's perspective, he seemed like a clown.
Well, to an outsider perspective, he seemed like a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, but actually he's like a really nice guy, which was
And I
weird.
think the truth about Kevin Durant, he's a nice guy who is just tired of being asked about things that he can't change.
Yeah, okay. So
And here's the thing, right? Mavericks media people love to butter up every single one of the players. It's just the way it is. So you get Kevin Durant down here, he's going to love how the media treats him. There's
yeah,
not going to be anywhere near as many BS questions that just piss him off. He's going to love the way it's a cakewalk for like 75% of the games.
yeah, you're absolutely spot on about that. That's true. I'm kind of like
And
wondering. I kind of like having like Luca as a number one option though. I think Durant kind
because
of.
Luka's the guy that loves to share the ball anyway.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's Luka will get his, but Kevin Durant can get his. And to be honest, once we hit about the back half of Kevin Durant's contract, Luka can start to take over the team.
Mm.
And if there's one thing I know, based off Kevin Durant's time with the Warriors, there's no man more clutch in the league right now. Nobody.
Right.
Not Kyrie Irving. Not
Well,
even him.
I kind of want to ask you then, let's say Durant joins the Mavs, and the media treats him well. Do you think like those like Thunder fans that hate him now, you think they'll like turn around and like?
No, because they will always be salty, and to an extent they have a right to be.
Yeah, they have, but like, well, if what you say is true, like that his personality is a lot better because he's treated well, you know. Do like Thunder fans see that?
Thunder fans are not going to change.
Okay.
They're not. But national fans may change.
Right.
But here's the thing. If Thunder fans changed, it would be like Mavericks fans suddenly be like, okay, we're okay with Rondo now. Like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that is what happened with DeAndre Jordan, which is weird.
No, DeAndre was a bit different. He wasn't being like all this like about like how much he hated the Mavericks. The way Kevin Durant was like, you saw some interviews where like he was like, I'm tired. I was so tired I hated Billy Donovan and all this.
Really? Because
he didn't say I hate Billy Donovan. He was like, Billy Donovan was a bad coach, and then later he apologized for it.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
it was one of his Twitter rants.
I think Durant is like really emotional and stuff, and I think he also his opinion keeps being different, you know, because like at first he like really loved OKC, you know, when he left, and then he like hated it, and then he loved it again, you know. It's weird.
Well, I think he loved the players, but he hated some of the behind the scenes stuff. And also, I think he hated being in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it is worth noting also, Kevin Durant did go to college at University of Texas.
Did he like it there?
Yes, he loved it. He still has a very strong connection to Texas to this day.
Yeah, that seems fair.
They get so many Kevin Durant shoes. They have a lounge with Kevin Durant's logo on it. Everything Texas basketball has a KD logo on it.
Right. I mean, if he proves that he's like a nice guy and that he isn't like a diva and that he like respects his teammates and stuff, then I'll probably love him, you know.
He does respect most of his teammates. He just has beef with Draymond, which, I mean, I can't exactly blame him.
Yeah.
Because Draymond's not exactly the best locker room presence either.
No, but like what I mean is like the Mavs locker room is really different. You know, they're like a lot more like, I guess like more humble people, you know, compared to like the Warriors.
Yes, that's the thing. And the only thing would be if Wes Matthews was still here, I'd be a little bit more worried about Kevin Durant, because Wes Matthews is the type of competitive guy that can like not exactly gel with KD, who's a bit more like chill and like laid back in the locker room.
I guess so, yeah.
Like the thing is, Kevin Durant as a person and just generally is just very laid back. He just gets annoyed. He gets irritated easily. Which, yeah, I mean, I get it, because I mean, I would probably get irritated too.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
the problem is you're comparing Kevin Durant, and you're looking at like you're comparing Kevin Durant to Dirk, and you're like, comparing Kevin Durant to like a typical person. It's like you're having these expectations of a once in a lifetime player, which is Dirk, in terms of like personality, which aren't realistic.
I think you're right, but I do see some of that in like Kristaps and Luka.
Oh, yes, but they're young. Kevin Durant is jaded to an extent. I mean,
young people usually are a lot more arrogant, and then when they're older, you know, players at least.
They are arrogant though, but the thing is, they're also innocent.
They're confident and humble is more. Wow, I see.
Confident, more innocent, confident, humble. Whereas KD is confident but not humble because he's won. He's done the winning. He's made the clutch shots. He's making money. He does not care. Kristaps is not even is barely 24 years old. You know, KD's done all these things.
Yeah, okay.
So to a certain extent, he has a right to be cocky, and on top of that, he has a right to be like, I want things my way because I'm good enough to say that.
Right. Yeah.
And to be honest, if he came here, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, and Kristaps Porzingis will win at least 2 championships. I'm willing to put that on paper.
No, I think I agree. but it's
As
still
long
kind
as
of
Kevin
even
Durant doesn't get mad.
yeah. I mean, even though he's like one of the best players in the league, it's still kind of it's weird. You should be like happy about that, like just the rumors about it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, as a fan, you should be like happy hearing that he might sign. But I'm not particularly,
Well, everyone's obsessed with his perception whenever none of these people are psychologists.
No,
And
that's true.
there's one person I know that I've talked about with that is, but even then you can only see so many factors from the outside. You don't know Kevin Durant the person, you know Kevin Durant the basketball player and the media personality.
Yeah, and also, actually, I'm thinking of like a moment where there was like a quote where he said that Luka didn't even have to go to school because he played in Europe, and everybody took that as like some like hate speech. Then I looked at the full video, and he was actually like really nice about Luka. He was like, "Oh yeah, Europe was a better league, and you don't have to go to school, so I'm happy for him." And it wasn't
Yeah.
even like a shot at Luka,
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? I
Yeah.
think to a small extent he probably was a little like annoyed that like Luka did have advantages, but not because of Luka, as more because of like just the situation. Because I'm sure if he could take it back, he probably wouldn't. If he had the choice, he probably wouldn't have gone to Texas. He probably would have gone straight to the NBA.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's just saying like, as a player, it's frustrating to see like players have these better opportunities now, but is nothing against Luka or anything.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And also, personal note, if you are a young NBA prospect at like 16 or 15, don't stay in the U.S. any seconds longer. Get out, and unless you have like so much hype, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And even then, I would consider it.
Hmm.
Get out and go to Europe and get in those development academies and learn how to play smart basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is, though, that Europe is really like about like sharing the ball and stuff, and while college is like really star driven. So if you're like a young
It
star,
depends on where you go.
that's true. Yeah.
If you go to Spain, that's very team oriented. You go to the Adriatic League, especially like Cedevita, you're gonna get all the chances you want.
Okay.
Like Cedevita's single purpose in Europe is to develop young talent by giving them as many opportunities as possible and then sell them for profit.
Okay. So yeah, that sounds perfect. So why don't players go there? It's
Because
weird.
it's Europe.
Yeah. Okay. You have to learn the language and stuff. That's true.
You have to learn the language.
like-
You have to want to go. How many teenagers want to go to the Balkans?
Yeah. Fair point. I mean, like Terrence Ferguson went to Australia.
That's
That's
Australia, and that was only because he was ruled ineligible for college.
really
Yes.
okay.
And also, Australia speaks English.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. You could go to England or Australia.
There is no attractive basketball league in England. Don't go. But Australia is actually jockeying for more NBA draft prospects. They're starting this program where they have a specific slot for NBA draft eligible players.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And on top of that, instead of signing with a team from the get-go, you sign with the league, and then you can talk to the league and determine what is the best place for that prospect.
I think the Darius Bazley thing is also interesting, right? He like signed with the G League team, I guess, right? And then he like
thought about signing with a G League team. They pulled out, and then they
oh,
signed
okay.
in this like 1 year like testing and promotion contract with New Balance. So they're like helping him train whatever by providing funds.
All right, okay. So it's kind of weird that like his draft stock lowered a lot, right? Because he doesn't really play on the team.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, he was never really that good compared to
Okay.
like Mitchell Robinson.
Oh,
Mitchell
okay.
Robinson, I think if he went to college, would have been a top 20 pick.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of confused about that basically situation, but now I get it.
Like, there is a small chance that Darius Bazley doesn't get invited to the combine because he's not even really that good. So
Right. So you don't think the Mavs sign Vucevic? So if they don't sign Durant either, they have a lot of money for a center probably. Which
well, hold on, I will
person-
say this really quick. I think
Okay.
he does end up here. I just think it's because Vucevic it's more because of Vucevic wanting it than because the Mavericks are trying to offer him a lot of money.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
Because I think he'll like settle for a bit less, just because he loves the Dallas and everything they have to offer.
That would be great, actually. Yeah.
And then I think at that point the Mavericks would try to get Dragic if they didn't already.
Right. But let's say they don't sign Vucevic. Who do you like the most from the centers?
I would take a really long look at Dwayne Dedmon.
Okay.
Because he's got the right size. He spaces the floor. He's a pretty good defender. He was a pretty good rebounder in San Antonio, but now he's being asked to play so much on the perimeter.
Right.
So I'm not going to think he's going to get like 15 or 12 or even 10, but I think he can put up a solid like 8.5 to 9 boards.
Okay. Yeah, that
Dallas,
works.
especially since he won't be asked to space the floor as much because Kristaps is on the court.
Yeah. So no Randall or Cousins?
Randall can't play 5 for us. He's undersized and his defense is poor. Cousins, I don't see him coming here.
I mean, I heard Rick talk about how Porzingis will probably play the 4 offensively, but then defend centers. And
yes, of course.
So Randall could do the opposite, you know.
If you have Randall, it doesn't matter who he defends. He's just not a good defender.
Okay. Yeah, that's a valid point.
I mean, and I guess if you wanted something like that, this is where Brandon Clark comes into play.
Yeah.
Yes, the Brandon Clark, I call him the defensive free safety. He is literally like, he would fit in so well as a offensive 5-man and as a defensive 4-man. It's incredible just how well it would work.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
The only problem is he's not long, but he's so athletic and he's very aware on the court.
Right.
And he just knows how to make impact plays. He's one of the leaders in the NCAA in blocks.
Right.
And he's not excellent, but relative to what he is as a player, he's really good with his ball skills.
Right.
And if he ever develops a jump shot, his value soars to a premier high-level starter.
All right.
But even in what he has like right now, and he just develops that into an NBA form, that would still be fantastic next to Porzingis, because he'd be a roll man, he'd be a defensive stopgap for pretty much everything, and he'd also be able to attack closeouts.
Right.
And he has excellent touch around the rim. Should have mentioned that.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm not sure they could get him, but if they
Clark,
could,
they could. Yeah. He's going to be picked in like the late lottery, so they could get him.
Yeah, okay, but they do have to
old.
have their top 5 pick for that.
Or they trade away something they could figure out some player to trade or something, perhaps.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The Dragic deal or something.
Right.
If they say we'll take Dragic, we'll send you Lee, and then maybe like some other player that we'll send them, or that we take on a contract. Because I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
No, I wouldn't either. If the Mavs don't sign a center, or Durant or whatever, or they have money for it, do they sign Kemba Walker? Is that a possibility, you think?
I think it would be interesting, because when I see what I see in Kemba Walker, I go back to Spain and I think of Sergio Llull.
Yeah.
And I ask myself, can Kemba Walker fill that role in Dallas in an NBA level? And I say yes. The only question is, what defenders are you signing around those two? Because you need to prioritize so much defense. Because, I mean, even if you do start Maxey, you need an elite perimeter defender. Now, that elite perimeter defender is available. His name is Danny Green. But can you get him? With Kemba Walker, I'm not sure.
Right.
And just like trying to sign like Al-Farouq Aminu or something and play him at the 4. And then I guess use Maxey as like an off the bench defensive spark plug who plays like more minutes than the average bench player.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I do want some like 40% 3-point shooter like Danny Green though.
Well, Farouk's a pretty good 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Okay.
But
That's actually
obviously
true.
he's not Danny Green. But
Yeah.
it is worth mentioning Danny Green's very on and off with his 3-point shooting.
Right. Yeah.
He has like odd year Danny Green is really good. Even year Danny Green's not as good.
Okay.
It's still good. It's just not as good. So yeah, Al-Farouq Aminu this year shooting 35.5% from 3.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Especially for a 6'9".
Right.
Danny Green in the past year, so last season, put up 36% from 3. So if you look, and then back in the San Antonio title days, he was always shooting like above 40% from 2011 to 2015. And then he had a bad year, and then he had an above average year, and then another above average year. And now in Toronto, he's back to shooting above 43%.
Okay.
So I don't know if he'll be able to keep like above 40 something percent, but even if he's like 38 with his defense, that's extremely valuable, and I'd love to have him here.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Is Malcolm Brogdon a possibility?
With enough money, I'd imagine, because I think if you throw him a max, which yes would be
Max,
overpaying.
really? Yeah.
Didn't we pay Chandler Parsons a max?
Yeah, one time.
Yes. So if we paid Chandler Parsons a max, was that worth it? Possibly. Will it be worth it for Brogdon? Absolutely.
Okay.
In the same sense that, while yes, dollar for dollar is overpaid,
Right.
but it's still a 10,000 times better deal than Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's
Malcolm
also like
Brogdon
now.
is like the perfect off guard to
Yeah.
Luka.
I mean, you need
6'6", ultra hyper efficient.
I agree with that, but like you need to pay Porzingis as well, and you need
You
to.
can pay him whatever you want. You have bird rights.
True. But another team offers him a max probably. So
Then you pay him the max.
exactly.
That's
So
okay with me. You were able to sign Brogdon and then Porzingis. You just
But
signed
then-
Porzingis second because you get like an entire week.
No, you're right. But then you have to, still pay other free agents, and if
You can sign a bunch of like Deadman. You can sign for cheap, relatively.
yeah,
You can sign Ed Davis to a minimum. You can sign Iman Shumpert probably for pretty cheap. I would love to have Iman Shumpert here too.
okay. I guess that works, but I do want like a good center, or like a yeah.
The problem is that for all the good centers out there, they're either old, they want a lot of money, or they're like there's like one, which is Deadman, and then
Right.
like a bunch of like blasé centers that you don't really want on your team.
Right.
Like, I guess I'd be fine with Boban, but not starting. He's the type of guy you want to plug and play for 12 minutes and then take him
Yeah.
off because he's going to get fouls.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you really want Willie Cauley-Stein? I don't.
I like him, but I don't think he's leaving Sacramento anytime soon.
He is restricted.
Yeah, exactly. So
Do you really want Ekpe Udo? I love Ekpe Udo.
I do like him.
but
Yeah.
I don't want to start him.
No.
I want him off my bench.
Yeah.
Do you want Justin Patton?
No.
Do you want Zaza?
Not at his age now, I guess.
Do you want JaVale McGee?
No.
Do you want Tyson Chandler at 37?
Maybe off the bench.
At 37.
No.
Do you want Nerlens Noel?
Nope.
He's been playing really well in OKC.
He has, but he didn't really
Yes.
fit like the Mavs offense, I think.
I think more
Defense.
accurately, he didn't fit in Rick Carlisle's personality.
That as well. Yeah.
Do you want Jaleel Okafor?
No,
No, you don't. Is the
No.
answer to that question. Do you want Ivica Zubac?
no.
Do you want, like at this point, do you want Daniel Tyus? I would say no because you already have Maxi.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's good, but Maxi is better.
Do you want Jordan Bell? I do, but not as a starter.
He could start next to Porzingis. I don't mind it.
I'm not sure. He's kind of limited,
I guess
but
so.
he would be an interesting bench piece for sure. Kenneth Farid.
No, because he's like injured all the time, right?
Yes. Inez Cantor.
Yeah, off the bench, but not as a starter.
I'm not even sure if I want him off the bench because he just has no defense.
Yeah.
Markieff Morris, not as a center.
Mm,
Not as a center.
oh no, but maybe if he plays like forward, but still, then
Yes.
I'm not really sure.
We're just gonna keep going. Like there's nobody left. Okay. Hold on.
I mean,
Just a second.
are there some players that stand out that you want for the Mavs that you haven't mentioned yet?
In terms of centers, no.
No,
in
just
terms
players.
of
Players in
other
general.
players,
You probably don't want Kyrie, right?
no, because Kyrie is like actually weird,
Yeah, Kyrie is worse than Durant in my opinion.
and I guess he's like a drama Kemba.
Yeah,
Um,
it's weird because he didn't used to be like this. Like,
Well, he what happened was he left Cleveland. Okay, so DeLon Wright, I'd be very interested. 6'6" point guard
yeah,
that can
he's nice.
play off the ball as well.
Yeah,
I'd be
he's
very
nice.
interested. Tomas Satoransky, be very interested in Tomas.
Yeah, I don't think he's leaving Washington though.
With enough money, he can leave, even though he is restricted.
Okay. Yeah.
Does Terry Rozier interest you?
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm not sure.
No.
'Cause the shot selection is really bad.
He was really good as a starter though.
He also might have just gotten hot.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just saying, I'm not sure.
For the right money, I'd be interested though.
Well, I think if it's for the right money, Boston matches.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Okay. I guess Derrick Rose,
No, not particularly. Right.
Wayne Ellington, I think would still be interesting.
Yeah,
But
for sure. Yeah.
It feels like I've wanted him for so long and he just never comes. So I'm not betting on it.
He was here.
Well, that one time, and he
Yeah.
barely played because Rick Carlisle just had something against him.
Yeah, he wasn't a vet,
Reggie Bullock, I
I
wouldn't mind him.
I don't know too much about him actually.
He's an excellent shooter.
That's good. Yeah.
Playing for the Lakers right now. Probably one of their only good players right now because he shoots well.
Oh yeah.
Seth Curry.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, he has been healthy in Portland, right?
Yeah, he's been playing all right. He hasn't been playing the greatest.
Yeah.
Let me check his numbers.
He has to do too
Curry-
much with the ball, I think, is the thing.
He doesn't play enough, so he only played like 17 minutes.
Right.
His 3-point shots come along. He's shooting 45%,
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
but for a period of time he was struggling. It is worth noting that Dallas had him as a significantly better 2-point scorer, so I think Dallas is just the ideal fit.
Yeah, I think so too. He
But-
fit great there. Here.
Whereas in Portland, he's just shooting threes mostly.
Yeah.
Like he's like over half of his shot attempts are 3-pointers.
Yeah.
So going back to the list, does Alfred Payton interest you?
No, not really.
Okay.
You?
I'm not sure. I'm just asking. I don't think Brook Lopez makes sense here because he's just so slow.
Yeah. Like if you had like someone totally different from Porzingis, then maybe, but not together.
All right. Mike Scott.
Maybe.
He's been struggling this year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Let me check. But what about Luke Richard and Bamute?
He's pretty good.
Yes, he's also old.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't mind it.
for the minimum,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. Yeah. Shooting 40% from three. Mike Scott.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But he's also shooting 35% from two.
Yeah, but I think he'll be more efficient in Dallas, in Rick's offense.
Perhaps, but he is in Philly right now.
Yeah,
So it is a question.
yeah, for sure.
How about Kyle O'Quinn?
For like a minimum, I guess, or
Even then, it's blah.
Yeah.
Justin Holiday.
He's nice if he shoots well,
He shoots like a little bit above league average.
Yeah, I guess that's like decent.
He's a pretty decent defender as well.
Yeah,
It's the only problem is he's not exactly consistent or anything.
I
I'd
guess.
still take him over Tim Hardaway. So
Yeah,
we'll get to him in a second.
yeah.
Marcus Morris. Senior.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Patrick Beverly.
Yeah,
Sign me up.
I would like him actually. He has, I don't know, he plays a bit too physical, which is kind of annoying. But
Well, you want him to play physical. If you get him on your team, that's exactly what you want him to do.
yeah, exactly. That's like the same thing I had with Zaza Pachulia, I
Well,
kind of,
Zaza is not the same because Zaza was doing some dumb things.
I
Like
mean,
sticking your foot out into someone else's jump shot.
yeah, but Patrick Beverly hasn't been
Patrick
like
Beverly
innocent.
just dives after loose balls and sometimes hits people.
Yeah, okay.
It's like I don't think there's a legitimate excuse for that thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. I like Patrick Beverly. He fits next to Luka. That's
Yeah.
like the most important thing about it.
He has the right mindset.
Yeah,
Mario Hazonia.
he's been really struggling in New York, but
Yeah, he did have that dunk though.
yeah,
Jeremy Lamb, I'd be interested.
yeah, me too. I like him.
Corey Joseph, I'd be interested. He's been playing really well.
Yeah,
in
yeah, he's
Indiana.
good. Yeah,
Mirotic, I think
yeah,
he's
for
taking
sure.
Milwaukee, but
Yeah,
we'll see. Jermichael Green, I'd say no, he's been struggling.
no, not really. Yeah, I agree.
Darren Collison,
I like him, but I don't think he fits with Luka.
because of the defense.
Yeah, and his size and stuff. Yeah,
Rudy Gay,
no, I don't like him that much.
Bojan.
Yeah, I like him. Not for too much money, I think, though. I mean,
I'd be
he's a
willing
great
to-
shooter.
He's also a pretty good defender.
Yeah,
I'd probably pay him about what Courtney Lee's getting.
yeah, that seems
It's
fair.
like 14,
Yeah, I like that.
maybe even up to 18.
Yeah,
If like we can't get much else.
yeah.
Terrence Ross.
He's really inconsistent, right?
He is also very athletic and has been much improved this year.
Yeah, he fits next to Luka, in my opinion, though, because of his athleticism and shooting ability.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right. I'm gonna keep going a bit faster now because some of these names don't matter much. Alec Burks.
As long as he will shoot, he will be shooting better. But nah,
Wilson Chandler.
no.
KCP.
Same with
Burks.
Burks, yeah.
JJ Redick.
Um,
I don't think he leaves.
we kind of need some defense, I think, and he's not really great at that.
He's a good team defender. He's very good off the ball, but he's gonna be anytime he gets matched up on the ball, he's gonna get taken advantage of.
Right.
Tyreek Evans. He's been struggling in
Yeah.
Indiana, but I also think Dallas could perhaps provide a resurgence to him as a sixth man.
Yeah, as a six man, I like him. Yeah.
He's not starting in this team.
No.
He's too much of a defensive sieve. Thaddeus Young.
He's kind of someone that fits next to Porzingis, I guess.
He'd be the 4 next to KP at the 5. Okay.
I kind of like him, yeah.
All right. Robin Lopez.
No, not really.
Ricky Rubio.
No, because we need shooters.
He's been shooting all right, actually.
Yeah, okay. It's
And
weird because he doesn't shoot like a shooter, you know. He's like kind of slow and yeah.
Yeah, he needs space for sure.
Yeah.
Give our 10-second gush session over Chris Middleton. We want you so bad.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
but is it gonna happen? You think?
No,
No.
but I want it to.
Yeah.
Taj Gibson,
How old is Taj Gibson now?
34.
That is too old, I think.
Damari Carroll.
Yeah, I like him.
He's also old, and he hasn't exactly been good this year.
It's true. He is a good shooter, supposedly, though. But yeah.
He's okay. He's inconsistent.
Mm,
This season, he's shooting bang on league average,
right.
and on 4.5 attempts. And he's also 5 rebounds, I guess, is good.
Okay.
He's also, I think he's been playing a lot of the 4 up there in Brooklyn. Trevor Ariza.
For
I mean, if you like Damari Carroll,
yeah, I think Ariza is
Um,
better than Carroll for sure, but I don't want to
Yeah.
spend too much money.
well, I don't think I think he already got his paycheck, and he's willing
Yeah.
to take a bit less if he's going to a contender. Tobias Harris somehow.
Yeah, somehow, yeah, but
He's basically Harrison Barnes that can shoot threes
Yeah,
and play
exactly.
make. That's basically what he is.
his defense is better as well, I think.
Somewhat, but not too much.
Okay.
Valanciunas is as an option. He's not leaving. Klay Thompson, no way.
Klay Thompson?
Um,
I mean,
No way.
like if Durant stays, then he
And
kind of has to
no-
leave, right?
No, he doesn't.
No?
No.
Okay.
Why would he leave?
I mean,
And why would he come to Dallas? Like, I
yeah.
get it. The
No,
fit
that's a better
works.
question.
But unlike KD,
Yeah.
you look at Klay Thompson and you ask yourself, at this point, he's been Robin his whole career. He's loved being Robin. He loves
yeah.
being Robin so much. And he loves Steph Curry. They're brothers, basically.
Yeah. But I think he wants the money as well, though.
He gets paid more than enough. He's on this big shoe deal
All right, that's true.
because he took the China shoe deal check.
Right. Yeah.
Jabari Parker.
No way.
DeAndre Jordan.
For like a minimum
For
or
nothing.
something.
No, nothing.
For nothing,
I don't-
okay.
No, nothing. No. Sorry. No. Paul Millsap has a club option and is getting paid $30 million. There is a decent chance the Nuggets decline. Would you be interested in Paul Millsap?
He is a little injury prone.
He's also might be the perfect fit to Porzingis if he can
Yeah.
stay healthy.
Exactly. So I think it's a risk worth taking, I guess.
How much?
I think if you give him like $8 million or something, 10 million.
8 million? 10 million? The
That's a
question
lot,
is, how
yeah.
much is he worth?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because, I mean, he hasn't exactly been bad this year when he's played.
Yeah.
He's been a pretty good shooter, if I remember correctly. That's the last name worth mentioning. So
Okay.
I just want to look up his numbers. 36.6% from 3. Has played 55 games this year. Shooting 53% from 2 on 7 attempts, 7 rebounds, a block, and 1.3 steals per game. If he can hold something like that, I'd be very interested.
Right. Yeah.
And about the West contract, even. Because I have faith in Casey Smith to hold our players together.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
All right, and with that, free agency is done.
Wait, who were the highlights of like for you? Like, it was, I think, Vucevic and Durant basically, or Dragic,
Kemba.
right?
Kemba,
Yeah, Kemba.
Paul Millsap, Danny Green, Chris Middleton, Malcolm Brogdon. Those would be my preferences.
Right. And out of the realistic choices, who
Alfred
are like
Camino.
Okay.
Who would I like the most? Oh, I don't know. There's too many that I like. It
Yeah.
just kind of depends on how the Mavericks draft.
I mean, Dragic seems really likely, honestly.
Dragic seems like a draft day trade.
Yeah.
I want to check his contract really quick, actually, before
Yeah,
we
for sure.
move on, because I don't know if he has a trade kicker.
All right. Yeah.
Because Jordan did have a trade kicker.
Right.
And so that was the reason they decided to sign him in free agency for basically the same deal.
Right. Yeah.
I see 0 notes about any trade kickers.
Cool. Yeah. So that's perfect.
All right. Moving on.
Yeah. So, do you think JJ Barea is coming back at all this year? Next year. Sorry.
Next year, I mean, it's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It's all that needs to be said.
So he could be out for like the full year next year. You think?
If he's out all season, he's just gonna retire. What's the point?
Yeah, for sure. I think he really wants to come back in like maybe February next year.
Sure, he wants to, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
Shooting 39% from 3. Shooting the exact same percentage from 2.
Right.
Just seems very raw.
Yeah, I get the impression too. Yeah.
I guess, would you be interested in him long term, or are you thinking he's probably doesn't really get anywhere?
I think if the Mavs like keep him long term, I wouldn't mind. But if they let him go in a few years, I wouldn't mind either. You know, it's like.
Well, I mean, they're going to keep him for now because his contract is still going for like another year, and then he's restricted, so he probably won't get paid much, and they'll just sign him to a cheap deal for like another 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. You know, he still has like a lot of potential, and he could become like really great. He probably plays summer league next year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like seeing him play there, and probably next to Luka and Brunson. So.
And whoever they pick in the second round.
Yep.
And Daryl Macon, and probably Kostas.
Yeah.
And perhaps some of the other guys on the Mavs G League team if they can get him on their summer league team.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe Brokoff, probably not.
Probably not. I'd be very interested to see if the Mavs could get Trayson Burrell on their summer league team.
Right.
He's on the Texas Legends. He's been shooting efficiently. He's one of the best players on the team net rating wise, and the only problem is he is like 190 pounds.
Wow.
He's really skinny.
Right. I think he'll they'll probably let him play in summer league though.
He's also like 26. So he's a little old.
Right.
We'll see. He's not too old. Okay, anyway. I think anything else to mention with Jackson? I don't think so.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Luka's anger.
Yeah.
I kind of expected it, so.
Yeah, and he is kind of dealing with, because at the same time he like realizes that the Mavs aren't playing for anything, and I think he's like excited for next year because of Kristaps and stuff. But you know, it's understandable that he's like frustrated and angry at stuff. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I would be too.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, whenever you never get to play with Ryan Brokoff.
Yeah.
So everyone that you pass to in the corner misses.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd get mad too.
Yep.
Especially when I knew we had players capable of hitting the shots that would never play.
I like that he's still passing though. You know, he's not like screw this. I'm shooting. You know.
He has to. If he keeps trying to score on his own, he's gonna get hurt. Bad.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was upset after Rick didn't call a timeout, you know, against Houston. And
I don't think he was upset. I think he was just expecting it, and then he wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, but at the same time, it wasn't a bad decision by Rick at all.
No, it's just that since Luka wasn't ready for it, he probably should have called it.
Yeah.
Only for that, not for the entire rest of the situation. And
exactly.
If you're looking at all the factors, if Luka was ready for either way, I would have done what he did. But because Luka clearly was not ready, I would have called the timeout.
Yeah, I agree. Tim Hardaway Junior, he's been kind of struggling. Last game he came
light for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Last game he came off the bench and I think that's the role for him. Like he's like a spark plug, you know.
Yeah, I think the issue is he's not the kind of guy that can come into a team mid-season and
That's
be
true.
good.
Yeah.
It is worth noting he is shooting 50% from the two, which is pretty good.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah.
He's just
Yeah, I
shooting
think
so many three-pointers. I don't understand why he's shooting 7 a game. He should not. I mean, I get it. There's not many good players on this team, but
yeah.
he should never be shooting above 4 a game, ever.
I think this summer Rick probably like looks at his roster and figures out how he wants to play, and now they just kind of came in, and he just kept playing the way they played, you know.
Yeah. Big question, actually, about players that Rick will be looking at, although it's not actually technically his decision. Do you think Ryan Broekhoff stays on the Mavericks? He has a non-guaranteed contract for next year.
I think Rick likes him, but at the same time, he doesn't care.
Rick likes him? Rick likes him?
He likes him, but he likes other
Are we sure
players
about
more.
that? Are we sure about that? I'm not sure Rick likes him because
Maybe not.
he refused to play him for like half the season.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are a lot of like proven players. But yeah, at this point, now that we're kind of tanking, he should actually be playing. So I guess
Who's proven? Tim Hardaway Junior?
In his eyes, he is. You know, in Rick's eyes.
Well, then Rick's eyes need to be checked.
Yeah. And he's also not playing Courtney Lee, so my logic doesn't really work, I guess.
Also, another thing, Rick Carlisle's contract got extended.
Yeah, it's true.
Before the start of the season. I mean, I guess he was going to be here for the long haul anyway.
Yeah.
But now it's confirmed he's going to be here just 1 extra year longer till 22, 23. And he got a pay raise.
It's kind of weird because the team has been kind of struggling, you know?
Well, it's not on him.
It's not
mostly
his fault at
not
all,
on him.
yeah.
Although I'm sure he could be making better decisions.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I kind of think the Mavericks were, at a certain point this season, low-key considering tanking earlier than we think they were. Like, I think they were in so much denial because they actually were.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's time to move on to the next topic.
Yep.
We already discussed Timmy, Burke, and Lee.
Yeah, basically, but are they like trading Timmy or Lee is the question, you know?
I think Lee is very tradable. I think Timmy is untradeable for other teams. I don't think any teams want Tim Hardaway Jr., so the only way Tim Hardaway gets moved is if we send assets or we're taking on cap space even more in return. Right.
I mean, I'm okay with keeping Burke if it's necessary for like little amount of money, and I'm okay with keeping Timmy. But Lee, I kind of want to be traded. You know, he's old and yeah.
I think Lee deserves minutes still.
But yeah, I agree with that. If they're gonna keep him, they have to play him.
But because otherwise, no one's gonna want to trade for nobody. Like, it's basically what you're trading with for Kemp. Because at least when the Knicks traded for Wes was playing.
Yeah. True.
Interesting fact, actually, I just wanted to mention, because he was an albatross contract for a little while. Jan Mahimni is expiring next year. And I would not be surprised to see him get moved around in a deal as well. I'm only mentioning it because he hit that buzzer beater in the 2011 finals.
Right. I remember Mahimi from I started in like 2012-13 with watching, and he stayed on the team a little longer than the other championship players, I think. And I remember him, and he was like always a great guy and stuff.
Yeah, and then he got to the Pacers, and he had his shine for a couple seasons. He was really good on the Pacers.
Yeah.
And then he got paid, and then he sucked.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you gave me my check? I'm going to go chill on the Washington, D.C. mall, I guess. Whatever you do in Washington, D.C. every day, because you can't really go to, like, the Washington Monument every day.
But I would like him back, but at the same time, we have, like, Dwight and Maxey now.
I'll pass.
Really?
I'll pass.
Okay.
Yes, I'll pass. Okay, Timmy or Harrison Barnes time?
Yep. So,
I think generally I take Harrison Barnes just because he's bigger and plays better defense. But it's not like a mile away off. It's just Tim Hardaway is cold right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like Barnes is really good at scoring and a little better at rebounding.
Generally a better shooter.
Yeah, but Timmy, he's quicker and he's like a better passer. And
Is he though?
I mean, he actually does pass. That's the thing. Barnes
He
doesn't.
only,
Really.
I think, well, he passes, but is it effective or is it just because he's not a ball hog?
Okay, let's put it like that. He's less of a ball hog than Barnes.
Yeah. I was about to be like, you better define right now what you mean by that, because otherwise people are going to construe it somehow. So.
Okay, yeah.
I
mean it like that, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Moving on.
Did trading DSJ hurt the Mavs? Besides having Kristaps Porzingis, because it's worth it for that, but like because of Burke, Timmy, and Lee kind of being struggling,
No, is the answer, because they weren't even that good with Dennis. Dennis was not the reason the Mavs were winning games.
And
most
for
of
his
the time.
potential, isn't it kind of a waste that he's gone, for the long term?
No, because they have Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I mean, if you're gonna talk potential, you literally have to talk about Porzingis.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dennis, but I think his shot was kind of like inefficient and inconsistent, and
I think it was also a fluke, because look at his numbers in New York. He's shooting 29% from three.
Yeah, it was weird how his percentage was pretty good, but his shot did look kind of awful.
It fell off.
Yeah.
To, like, it was like at 37 at one point.
Yeah, but like I still do like some quick athletic point guard next to Luka, as long as they can play off ball,
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of interested in Kemba. I mean,
yeah, for sure, he's ideal, except for that he doesn't play that great of defense. But yeah,
there's one thing that's interesting about Dennis's time in New York. He has a career high assist to turnover of 6 to 2.4.
In New York right now.
Yes.
Wow.
That is remarkable.
Yeah.
He also is shooting 56% from the free throw line.
Okay, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
On 4 attempts a game.
Wow, yeah.
It's really bad.
I mean, at least like his playmaking is getting better. So in a couple of years, he'll be probably like a very good player.
Yes, he's just no Kristaps.
No, for sure. Yeah.
And yeah, so not changing my mind on the trade, y'all, in case you were wondering. And Reese Conco, Dennis Smith Jr. is not a good shooter. True. I don't care what you said. I remember when you were saying he was shooting 37%. Look at his numbers now. Okay, I'm just tripping. Don't take that seriously. Just have fun.
No, but I agree. It's really worth it. Even though they lost 2 first-round picks in the future as well.
They'll be in like the 20s. They'll be in the 20s.
Yeah.
They will be in the 20s. Even if no big free agent ever comes, Kristaps and Luka will be 50+ wins as long as they stay healthy.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And also, if Zion somehow magically with 9% odds if he makes it to Dallas, I swear to God, the league is over.
Yeah, that would be insane. It really
is over.
Yeah.
The league is over. You have 8 years of team control for Luka and Zion.
Yeah.
You have Kristaps for 4 more years at least, if not 5.
Yeah.
On top of that, you have the ability to extend Kristaps again.
Yeah.
So you're talking about deep playoff runs, championships, and so much like long-term power. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Zion is like a souped-up Draymond offensively, and then defensively, he's still so athletic and he plays hard.
Yeah.
So, as long as he doesn't blow out his shoe again, so gonna need to give him some LeBrons.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the last topic, we pretty much talked about it a little bit, but like whether, like if Burke stays and Lee and Timmy, if they will be better next year after they had like a summer to practice with the team,
Well, Hardaway is going to be better than whatever he is right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because yes, he just will be.
Yeah.
Lee, I don't really think Lee's plays even up to him at this point.
No, yeah.
And then Burke. I mean, he'll be better, but how much better? And is it even really worth bothering re-signing him or not? I guess. So, but we already hashed out that conversation. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, there's no guarantee Burke is even here next year.
He probably leaves, I think.
If he gets any amount of contract above $3 million, he goes.
Yeah, for sure.
The Mavericks should not match.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
So that's everything.
That's everything. Yeah, it went quicker than I thought because it was a lot of topics, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we probably went about an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly 1.5.
All right. Well, let's go in and end it.
Yep. Like, yeah, you don't have anything left to say, or?
Well, I mean, we already said all the topics, so I mean, I'll just plug the socials.
Sure.
You can find me on Twitter at MaxScouts. My work is on lockdraft.com. They have the website updated, but they haven't gotten to the preseason stuff that I wrote, so that stuff is not on the website yet. It will be on there shortly, I imagine. I have more pieces coming for them as well. I also am working on a G League piece for Dallas Prospect, talking about some of the players and the legends, including Daryl Macon and Kostas Antetokounmpo, among others. That's DallasProspect.com, TheDallasProspect.com, excuse me. And also, I have the podcast, the Third Round Picks. We actually just released an episode the night before we recorded this episode, so check that out. And then by the time this episode gets out, there will be probably a couple more episodes coming out, at least one more, which will be focusing on March Madness, mostly with the tournament coming around. And then my co-host for that, you can find Mavs Draft. I think all of y'all know him at Mavs Draft on Twitter, MavsDraft.com, and Mike Bibbins, Adam Bibbs for his regular account, and then Bibbs Corner for everything Mavericks and sports related, and BibbsCorner.com. Thanks for listening to us and giving us your support.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're interested about our opinions of the Porzingis trade that is in the last episode, we talked about it a lot and about what we envisioned Tim Hardaway Junior being and stuff, and so check that out. It's still kind of relevant in my opinion. So
yes, and with that, plug your socials.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't really have a Twitter account or anything.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, that's not my YouTube Twitter account. You know, I still need to make something like that. But I do have like a weird basketball account. It's called @MavericksMonte.
It's a very funky Mavericks account, and it inspired the name of this podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan of Monte Ellis, and yeah, so anything basketball is on there. So you can check me out if you like basketball.
All right. With that, signing off.
I got too much Monte.
Monte Ellis, ask the fellas. Who talk trash because they jealous? Laid back from the south, trying to hack up, I'll make you shut your mouth.